Hello internet friends, and welcome to the Legion Alpha Beta First Pass summary of the Restoration Shaman. If you are new to these series or you want to find out all the bug reports and things that I have found that are kind of weird, please check out the video description box below. As well as if you've missed the full VOD or want to know all the other classes that I have tested in a very simple and sorted manner, please refer to my channel guide located on my twitch.tv/FinalBossTV channel, where I do all the live streaming stuff. But to get right into this real quick, I will preface this by saying that hopefully I don't talk too fast. There's a lot of small but very significant changes to the Restoration Shaman, and I'll kind of blaze through all this stuff as we go through everything. I'll start off with your passives, which I think the largest change overall has been tidal waves. Now, make sure I don't have the talent for it. I do not. So, tidal waves on live right now. You cast Riptide, you get 2 stacks. You cast Chain Heal, you get 2 stacks, right? Now, this stacks up to 2 times. So you have to cast 1 of each, or 2 in a row, like back to back, right? To get 2 stacks of it. However, it is more potent at the base level. So right now, it's a 30% cast time reduction on your healing wave, or a 40% increased critical strike chance on healing surge, which is stronger than the base amount right now. I will then jump to a talent real quick, because it synergizes directly with tidal waves, is Crashing Waves. So Crashing Waves generates 1 additional charge every time you use a tidal wave ability. So if you cast a Chain Heal once, you'll get 2 stacks. If you cast a Riptide once, you'll gain 2 stacks. But then it also gives 10% more crit to the surge, or 10% faster cast time to the healing wave. So this is sort of similar to what you see right now, where you get 2 stacks, and then you can heal faster, or get a better chance for a crit, right? There you go, right there. Or you can heal faster with surge here, with wave, or you get a better crit with surge, right? That's just how it used to be, or kind of how it is now, but by default, tidal wave is then even stronger. So the tooltip doesn't update properly yet. Put that in my notes. As I untalent it now, it probably will not. Let's go to Deluge here. Tidal waves, yeah, it still says 30 and then 10 and 40. It doesn't add the 10% yet, so that should hopefully come in the future. But that's tidal waves, which has been sort of buffed by default, but then also made a little bit less powerful if you don't take crashing waves, sort of. Other passives now are Tiller Currents, which Lightning Bolt has a 30% chance to make your next Earth Shock deal 80% additional damage. Because you can do damage as healers, you have to, because you're leveling up your artifact and stuff, right? So you have Lightning Bolt, there's Tiller Currents, and you can throw off a Earth Shock for some more damage there. Currently there's no animation for it. You have Chain Lightning as well as Flame Shock for doing the damages. You might be wondering, like, am I just going to face tank everything as the Resto Shaman? Well, no fear, because Stoneclaw Totem is here. So Stoneclaw Totem drops at your feet with a whole bunch of HP. It's almost like half, it's like 40% or something like that. It might be more eventually. It's kind of weak right now, it looks like. But it will taunt any enemy that attacks you, tank it, and it'll debuff the target to take 40% increased damage from the caster, from the shaman, for 30 seconds. So you'll be casting Stoneclaw a lot, like next to you, and then kind of being an elemental shaman from, as elemental shamans do. And the Stoneclaw Totem will tank for you. And it lasts for 30 seconds or until it dies. You cannot heal it right now, which I don't know if that's intended or not, but it's immune to healing. I think it'd be kind of cool if you could heal it, but right now you cannot. So I imagine it might have a ton of armor or something. I don't know. But it'll also taunt things at range within 30 yards of you. So we'll have to see how that works out. But that's your basic of how you do damage as a Resto Shaman, is to do that. That's your basic rotation for doing the deeps. Resurgence is still baseline. You'll notice there's no water shield on the Shaman. That's gone. It's just caked in now to Resurgence, where your direct heal criticals refund you mana. 1% max mana for healing wave, 0.60% of your max mana for healing surge or Riptide, and then 0.25% for chain heal. And that's just your mana ability, which I'll jump back over to a talent real quick. Bottomless Depths gives your Resurgence a chance to always trigger when you heal a target below 60% health. It does not double stack, though. So if you get a crit on someone below 60% health, it does not give you both the Resurgence and the Bottomless Depths proc. It does not do that. It's one or the other. Which is fine for mana, just mana conservation and mana spending. If you're going to be spamming all day, maybe it's good. Maybe it's good early on. Overall, though, Bottomless Depths is kind of weak in comparison to what you have in the talent tier next to it, which we'll go through in a minute. You're seeing them right now, but Reincarnation is still here, but because the perk is gone, we're at 20% health and mana, not 70% health and 20% mana. So, and it's also 30-minute cooldown now, so it's going to be a longer cooldown and less effective. Maybe they'll do something for that, but it's going to be interesting to not have as strong of a onk going into Legion. And then deep healing, of course. Same thing as it is right now. It's a arbitrary percentage that is based on the current health of the target for your HP. So if you are, for your mastery level, rather, I should say. So if you are healing a target at 100% HP, you will gain 0% of your mastery to bonus healing them for more HP. If they are at 1% HP, like these dummies right here, you will gain 99% of your effective mastery, or in this case, 49% additional healing. As I will heal myself with a healing surge, heals me for 21,000, 21,000. If I heal this training dummy, you'll heal for 32,000, or almost 33,000, because it's gaining a 49% increase in healing done. That's how your mastery works. People say it's boring. I say it's very impactful on the fact that you have to make sure you are choosing to heal most injured targets, especially with putting up Riptides or putting out Chain Heals. Everything else just kind of happens, right? If you're healing a tank, you might get really lucky with huge crits if they are super low on HP, but I digress. That is how it is, of course. Windshear is still here, Waterwalking is still here, Stormcall is your port back to your garrison, Spiritwalker's Grace is here. It's a 2-minute base cooldown. There's no glyphs to make it more powerful. It lasts for 15 seconds. However, there is a talent you could take called Graceful Spirit, which will give you a 20% sprint while it's active and reduces cooldown by 60 seconds. So it does give it more potency. You can use it more often with a small sprint, but there's no more like immunity to interrupts and stuff like that. And there's no half cooldown, half duration shenanigans. So you either have it as a 2-minute cooldown or a 1-minute cooldown depending on your situation. Spirit Link Totem is very much still here doing Spirit Link things. Your only DR is Shamanistic Rage, your damage reduction, which is weird. I put this in my notes that maybe Earth Shield or like Water Shield could be the defensive, at least for the graphic, but the effect would be the same. Because it kind of feels weird to have Shamanistic Rage as a Resto Shaman, but that's just me. Riptide is Riptide. Purify Spirit is Curse and all magic effects on the target. Purge, Lightning Surge Totem is a talent. It's just Capacitor Totem. It's in the same tier as Earth Grab and Voodoo Totem. These are the same for all Shamans on all 3 tiers. Lightning Bolt again. Hex is here. Heroism, Healing Wave, Healing Tide, Healing Surge, Healing Stream, Healing Rain. Ghost Wolf is good. Flame Shock, Farsight. Only healers have reses apparently in Legion, which I'm not super sold about. Like hybrids that have a healing off spec that can just swap to like me, like a Enhanced Shaman, I should have a res, because it's kind of weird that only healers have reses. Astral Recall, not Ancestral. Chain Heal, Chain Lightning, Earth Shock. Everything else is talent oriented. So you can do some damage. You have a little bit of damage synergy with the Lightning Bolt to Earth Shock nonsense there, but we'll see if that's any worth a damn when it comes out, of course. We don't know, because people are asking me, how do I level as a healer and level up my artifact weapon? And you could go a DPS spec and then swap back to Resto, and then crush all these little artifacts you pick up, like the Shard of Pontification, or a Potentiation, or whatever the hell they're called, you know? You can farm them as a DPS spec, and then swap specs, and then crush them into your Scepter. But there are some quests also that need you to complete quests as the spec. So do you complete the quest as a DPS spec, then swap back to Resto, and then complete the quests? It's kind of awkward and weird to do that back and forth. So hopefully DPS for casters, for healers anyway, is really potent enough that you can just stay Resto and do your thing. Also, side note for healers, since you have 4 DPS buttons by default and 4 main healing buttons by default, if you don't know about help harm macros yet, I suggest you look into it, because you could put like Flame Shock on Riptide, and if you attack a enemy, you'll Flame Shock them. If you heal yourself or an ally with the same button, you'll put a Riptide on them. So look into that so you don't have to have 8 buttons on your bars just for the same, like, for 4 heals and for 4 DPS buttons, but that's a side note. Undulation is every third healing wave heals for more. So here's the first one. Here's the second one. A crit, but here's the third one. There's no buff or no stack that shows you it does this. It just does this, right? And you can weave it between other spells. It doesn't have to be 3 successive. It's just the third one in any row that you cast around it will heal for more. Rushing Streams is Healing Stream Totem. Heals 2 targets at once instead of 1 target at once. And Torrent is the glyph for Riptide, sort of, that increases the initial heal by 50%. Gust of Wind, of course, is the Shaman Fart, which you can use with Ghostwolf Forum and Cliffs to gain some serious distance, like PvP situations or movement in raids. It's very good. It's just a short boof of speed, not speed, but of distance. But you can kind of combine it with Ghostwolf, for example, and be like, woo! Poof. It's a pretty good movement ability, honestly. The other one, of course, is Graceful Spirit or Wind Rush Totem, which is your AoE raid. It's sort of like Roar, but it's an AoE raid, 60% increased movement speed. It's AoE 10 yards around the totem. You can pass through it and you get the movement speed buff. And then Lightning Surge Totem, Earth Grab, Voodoo Totem. These are the same for the other 2 Shaman specs too, all across all 3 of them. Crashing Waves again is Tidal Wave Synergy. AG is still here. AG is here for Resto, where you're healing and damage for 10 seconds. 20% of that is converted, and then healing up to 3 nearby injured party raid members. So you can kind of like couple AG with like some chain heals, some healing rain kind of stuff. It's not a huge deal. It's just a small form cooldown, I suppose. There's some glitch right now with the cast animations if you see that with healing wave. But it's a small form cooldown. Your other one is Deluge, which the wording on this I suggested in my post to make it sound differently. But right now it says that Chain Heal heals for an additional 20% on targets affected by your Healing Rain or Riptide. Now it is or one or the other, right? But I kind of feel that it should be worded a little differently to denote that it's either or. And then how does Healing Rain denote the bonus? Is it just like standing in the socks wetting puddle? Or is it have to be recently healed by Healing Rain? Because Healing Rain has a max cap of how many people it will heal. So if I go over here to the tooltip, which if I can find it, I've been doing too much testing, my brain doesn't work. 6 allies in the area will be healed over 10 seconds. Now, it doesn't like snap and only heal 6. It just each time it pulses, it will heal 6 allies. And over the duration, it will restore, or to that each pulse, it'll heal for 12,000-ish damage to 6 allies in the area over 10 seconds. So I imagine each time it picks a new target, I can't really test without having more than 6 people in a group or something like that, but it'll heal 6 people per pulse, but pick different people each time, because it won't just pick the same 6 people and only heal them over the 10-second duration, because that would be terrible. But for Deluge, it's kind of weird, like, will Chain Heal work on any targets, or only those standing in it, or, like, obviously standing in it makes sense, but if you're recently healed by it and you walk out of it recently, will the Chain Heal still heal you for more? I don't know. It's tough to figure out. Ancestral Vigor is back. This was here before. Healing Wave, Healing Surge, Chain Healer, Riptide, Initial Heal. Put a 10% increased health buff on the target for 10 seconds. Very easy to keep up all the time on your tanks or your, lots of your raid members, really. So I'll move on from that. Cloudburst Totem is still here. I don't know how Cloudburst Totem will work, because does it work on all allies who heal themselves? Does it work on all healing you deal and your allies deal? It's still kind of a weird, And then Echo of the Elements is here, but it applies to Earthshock, Riptide, Healing Stream Totem, and Spirit Link Totem. And yes, that does mean you can chain Healing Streams back to back to back. You can do 3 in a row, and then you'll have to kind of wait for 1 to come off cooldown each time because of how the cooldown stacking works. Because they have a 30-second cooldown and 15-second duration. So you can do 2 in a row, and that's 30 seconds, so 1 charge will come back. And then you can do a 3rd in a row, but then you'll have to wait. When that one's done, you'll have 15 seconds left on your next charge. But you can still tie that together. Obviously, 2 SLTs is great as well, but you can do multiple Healing Stream Totems in a row. You can do Rushing Streams as well. I did skip these, but not on purpose. So Earth and Shield Totem is a set and forget. Remember, all totems now have built-in totemic projection. But what this does is that it summons an Earth Totem with your HP at your feet, or where you post it, and it will absorb and then redirect damage. It's redirecting damage right now from this guy because it's healing himself. Because he heals and then takes damage because it keeps pushing the damage down, so it redirects. You'll see here the Earthen Shield applied to me, faded for me kind of stuff. It will... The absorb and redirect is based on your spell power. And the amount it can absorb is based on your HP. But what it'll do is, any of those allies within 10 yards, it will reduce that much damage per attack for 15 seconds, up to, of course, the maximum HP that it can redirect. This will be really good on, like, a tank picking up a whole bunch of adds, because then all of the adds attacks will be reduced a little bit by then, or as, like, a sort of raid cooldown to reduce, like, AoE tick damage for a little bit. It's neat. It's the old Iron Skin totem, so I respect the artwork there, because I missed that, just old totem stuff, but depending on how strong it is, because 10% HP, or a small form cooldown that reduces dot ticks, or like kind of a tank cooldown, not sure how that'll work. The other one is Ancestral Protection Totem. This is going to be weird. It's a totem that will revive through reincarnation, which does not count as a battle res, the first ally who dies within 15 yards of the totem with a reincarnation, 20% health and mana, in 15 seconds with a 3-minute cooldown. So if I drop this totem here and die to the tanking dummy, Totemic Revival. Boop. So if you are going to sacrifice a tank, if you know your Shadow Priest is surrendered to the madness and is going to die in 10 seconds, if you need to soak ability or have a tank soak something that will kill him, right? Or something like that. This will not count as a battle res. Very situational, very niche, or niche, or niche, or whatever you want to say. Very situational cooldown, but very cool. A lot of possibilities with this talent. This is neat, right? This is neat. We can all say it's kind of neat, right? Class, is it neat? It's neat. Okay. Both of these are neat, and so is AV being back, because there's just a lot of HP proponently, but it's not very active, it's just very maintenance-y, and these are both very active, right? Well, let's see how that works out. Ascendance is very much still here. I will show off Ascendance because it doesn't look any different if you were curious. It does have a 5-minute cooldown, but it lasts for 30 seconds. But you will ascend and turn into the big water elemental, woo, and then you can heal, and all your healing is then split evenly as a healing meteor effect to all raiders in the vicinity. So if you heal for, say, 100,000, it will take that 100,000 healing and then divide it evenly among your 20 mythic raiders, right, per heal, right? So it's not especially, like, potent by itself, but you're gonna have a totem down, you might have a Spirit Lane totem going down, you might have someone else's raid cooldown going, but Ascendance is still Ascendance. It does last longer than it is on live, so that is what it is. And then High Tide is still here, which I will then go back to Chain Heal now, because Chain Heal by default bounces to 4 targets, and each bounce after the first is reduced by 30%. So a full heal, and then 30% left, 30% less, 30% less. If you want to know all the math we figured out and how Chain Heal works, please go to the channel guide and go to the VOD. We talked about Chain Heal for like an hour. But High Tide gives it 1 additional target, so it'll be 5. I can't target it right now because I had to do Ascendance. It'll be 5 targets by default, and the bounce fall off is reduced by half. So it would be 15, 15, 15, 15 instead of 30, 30, 30 in reduction of healing effectiveness. So it's interesting, and I should have showed you Wellspring in this video. I'm so bad. Can I relog real quick during this video and actually show you this? Because I want to show you what the animation for Wellspring looks like. It might be placeholder. It's kind of really weak right now, but that's your last talent. I should have showed you it before I switched target talents. My bad. Nope, I can't do it. I'm so sorry. It sends out this little small blue wave effect. You can see it in the VOD like a bajillion times. It's very hard to see, but it's a 30-yard cone. It's like a 120-degree radius cone in front of the shaman. But it can be cast while moving. It's a huge burst of healing. It hits each target once. But that's that. I feel like a dum-dum now. Well, I apologize, but I did the thing. If you enjoyed this preview, though, except that last flub at the end, hit that like button. It has been a great deal. Also, subscribe to my YouTube channel here and check out all the other stuff that I'm doing. Of course, refer to my channel guide if you want to see more testing or full VODs or all the other stuff I've done. I will see you all in the next Legion Spec Summary.